Okay, I'm finally here. Wow, 3 minutes of intro music. I've never gone that long before. It has been a morning. And as we all know, this is Monday. And if you've been around me for more than one or two Mondays, you know Monday is my infusion day. So I'm sitting here at my computer with 6 needles stuck into my belly and pumping medicine in. And about every half hour, I got to go and change out the syringes. Uh, that's about how long it takes for one to get dumped in. And that just, I got my next one already set up. So it don't take that long to actually change it out. But then I do got to fill up the next syringe. Let it sit there so that the air can bubble its way up. Anyway, that's a me problem, not a you problem, but that's what I was doing here when all the music started because my other syringe just happened to empty out at the same time. Anyway, good morning. The day before Election Day. Good Lord have mercy. The day before Election Day. Tomorrow is going to be hell on earth in the United States. But we'll talk more about that later. I'm going to get straight into the first story that I want to talk about here. Okay. We're going to talk about what is going on here. Oh, okay. I see what that is. We're going to talk about my lead story this morning. Peanut the Squirrel and his brother Fred the Raccoon. Everybody should be if you're on social media at all, you know about these guys. I got to turn the volume down on this before I do anything else. Close that tab. Okay, open that up so I can see chat if chat happens to show up here. But Peanut the Squirrel. Peanut the Squirrel was a rescue squirrel. About 7 years ago, family happened to find him. And they nursed him back to health as a young squirrel. Mark Longo. And Mark, he had no intentions on keeping Peanut after he got him nursed back to health. He tried to release Peanut, and Peanut kept coming back. So they just sort of adopted each other. And as you can see here, they put Peanut in hats and they put him in little costumes and they posted videos of him. He was just he became a regular little star. For 7 years, they'd made videos about him. And Instagrams and all over the place. And I've watched some of the videos because, come on. I watch cat videos, I watch dog videos, I watch horse videos. There's one horse video that I'm not going to show anybody, but it's, oh my God. And these critters, Peanut the Squirrel, he was living his best life with his family. He really and truly was. He was living his best life. He had no problems whatsoever. He was well taken care of, well fed, taken to the vet when needed to be, absolutely living his best life. Then come along a hater. Mark Longo, as anybody who's on the internet for any length of time, no matter what you post, you can post the most innocent pictures in the world, and you're going to get haters. You're going to get somebody who doesn't like you or what you're producing. I know I've got my haters out there. They're the ones I took a 90-day break from streaming because of my haters out there. Because I had to reevaluate what they were saying, what they'd said about me, what they said to me. And I've lost about, I went from having a couple hundred views a day down to 10 views a day. Such be it is. Haters are going to hate. I lost some people that I thought were friends over this. Because I didn't tell anybody I was going to take that 90-day break. But anyway, I did. It's over with, whatever. But there's going to be haters out there. Well, some woman in Texas out there decided that she didn't think it was right that this guy kept this squirrel as a pet. She thought that was wrong. And she called the New York State government. The New York State government. She called them in. And relinquished the power of the state against this family. Okay, and no, that's not the who. And I'm trying to find this guy's picture because he's a real work of art. No, that's the police commissioner. Where can I find this guy's picture? I thought I will find the picture of this jerk here sooner or later. Oh, come on. Close that. Close these tabs. The DEC, that's who I was looking for. And let me find images. Here we go. Find a picture. Yeah. Ah, here's this turkey. Open this image in a new tab. Okay. This human piece of garbage ended up going and getting warrants with 4 or 5 different agencies to go to Mr. Longo's home. Hey, Willie, good morning. Oh, okay, Willie, yeah. What that I was getting that piece of trash woman in Texas, that's where I was going with this, sent letters and phone calls and emails to this human piece of garbage. And let me get his picture a little bit bigger so everybody can see this human piece of trash. And he's only been in the job less a year. So he went and got warrants for 5 different agencies because this woman in Texas claimed that squirrel had rabies. That squirrel named Peanut had rabies. Now, squirrels don't carry rabies. All right, it's plain and simple. Squirrels have never been recorded as spreading rabies to other animals or humans. In fact, squirrels are not a risk factor for rabies. This is also true for most other small rodents such as hamsters, guinea pigs, rats, and mice. Also, most wild rabbits don't carry or transmit rabies. But that's what she claimed. That's what this guy, this human piece of fecal matter, used to go get warrants for 5 different agencies. Well, these agencies went to Fred's home or Peanut's home, Mr. Longo's home, and they detained him, made him sit on the ground for over 5 hours while they searched his house, tore his house apart. Why? They already knew where Peanut the Squirrel was and Fred the Raccoon. They knew where they were. But their warrants allowed them to search the house as if they were drug overlords. Tore their house apart, according to Mr. Longo. Because some Karen in Texas made the claim that Peanut the Squirrel and Fred the Raccoon had rabies. You think so, Willie? Yes, they did. They wanted to make sure the man didn't have cameras in the house so that they couldn't be recorded doing what they were doing. 5 different agencies. Now, reportedly, if I'm going to go out to somebody's house, if I'm going to be a real piece of human fecal matter. And I'm going to go to somebody's house, confiscate a pet squirrel that they had been lovingly had as part of their family for 7 years, that right around the house in the open for the most part. But I didn't know this squirrel, and this squirrel didn't know me. I'd put on a pair of gloves before I handled that squirrel. Because squirrels are still wild animals. Just like if somebody came in, and my dog Spanky and my cat Smokey are two of the chillest animals you ever want to see. Now Spanky barks at anybody he doesn't know until I tell him that they're a friend, and then he quits barking. And Smokey just runs and hides. But somebody supposedly picked up Peanut the Squirrel without a pair of gloves on, and supposedly got either bitten or scratched by him. Now, there are two ways to determine whether or not an animal's got rabies. Two ways. The first way is to kill it, chop off its head, and examine its brain. The second way is to quarantine it for 10 days and watch them. Watch for the symptoms. That's the two ways. So you can kill the animal or let it live. Well, New York, this is the state of New York. Which way do you think? Well, we already know which way they went. I don't have to ask you to guess. Those pieces of human fecal matter garbage, and not the kind of, and I mean true garbage. People that should be working in a landfill, their homes should be in a landfill. They should never be allowed to leave the landfill. They should be forced to curry their meals from what's put into that landfill, from what they can get within the landfill. But these human pieces of garbage decided that they needed to kill these animals and examine their brains for rabies. Now, I guess technically, by the strictest measure of the law, Mr. Longo had not filed the proper paperwork to keep Peanut and Fred as pets. To keep them, to allow them to have that relationship. They had not filed the proper paperwork. But remember, there's over 1 million illegals living in the state of New York. And the state decided to expend its time and money going after a man who had for 7 years kept illegally, according to the reports, a squirrel and a raccoon that were YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram stars, and Facebook. Had huge followings. On the internet. And the government decided to kill them. Oh no, they could not keep those animals alive for 10 days and then return them back to Mr. Longo. Oh, and another thing, those wonderful enforcers of the law, because this was an early morning raid. on Mr. Longo's home. They refused to allow him to feed his other animals for the 5 hours that they were there. They questioned his wife. They made him sit on the grass in his yard for 5 hours. They refused to allow him to feed the other animals that he had, horses and such. They were so concerned about the health of this squirrel and raccoon that they felt that was more important than Mr. Longo, that they had to keep Mr. Longo under the direct supervision and allow him to feed his other animals. The state of New York and this human piece of fecal matter should be ashamed. I would say it would be, Wiley. Willie? I don't know why I keep calling you Wiley. I apologize. It's probably like Monkey keeps calling Knights nuts. I started it, now I'm stuck with it. I hope you don't object to that. But this human piece of fecal matter needs to resign his office. He should have resigned it by now. The governor, Hocho, should have demanded his resignation already. Should have demanded his resignation. Because that human piece of garbage listened to some woman from Texas just because she wouldn't shut up. And she irritated him to the point that he decided he had to do something to satisfy a damned Karen in another state. None of this guy's neighbors bothered him. He didn't bother any of his neighbors. None of his neighbors, nobody in his town, nobody in his county complained. Just some woman out of Texas. Now, if you go out there looking, you'll see a certain woman that has been identified as being this Karen. I am not 100% certain that she is. Okay, I'm going to be. I'm not 100% certain, so I'm not blasting her name or picture out there. You can go looking if you want to, but I'm not going to blast her name out there. But from my understanding, this woman's life is turned into, and if she is the woman who did it, her business is suffering greatly. She's getting phone calls, emails, text messages because she's been completely 100% doxxed. She's probably had to go down to Verizon or T-Mobile or wherever she's got her cell phone through and had to get a new phone number. But if she did, it wouldn't surprise me if somebody found out that new phone number and doxed that, released that out. Now, I'm not saying that I approve of doxing, because I don't. But am I overly sad that this woman, if she is the woman, is suffering the inconveniences of having her business and her name out there in the public eye? I don't. Let's just put it this way. I've got to look deep within my heart to find any sympathy for her. I know it's not very Christian-like of me to be that way. But because of her, an innocent animal was murdered. Well, killed, put to death, had its head chopped off, and its skull opened up, and its brain examined for a disease that has never been reported any member of the squirrel family of ever having. There's a lot of things in this world that people should get upset about. And the death of a squirrel is really is the death of a squirrel that big of a thing in and of itself? I mean, I've killed plenty of squirrels in my life. And I've eaten plenty of squirrels in my life. Squirrel stew is good. Fried squirrel is good. Squirrel's tasty. Squirrel skins can make you some money, especially if you're getting, back in the day, back when I was a kid in the 60s and 70s. Squirrel skin, you got enough of the hides together and you cured them correctly, you could make some money. And $100 was a lot of money to a kid back in the 60s and 70s. $1 a hide. So it's not the fact that somebody, and raccoons, trash pandas, what can I say? But it's the fact that the state of New York, after welcoming thousands, if not millions, of illegals into the state and spending billions of dollars housing them and feeding them, giving them cell phones, while veterans and other people are sleeping in the streets, U.S. citizens, that the state of New York spent money, time, and resources, manpower, on going after this squirrel. This particular squirrel, because some woman in Texas couldn't keep her mouth shut. This never should have been a thing. This never should have been a thing. This is what a government that is too powerful does. If the state had sent the game warden out, if the county had sent the sheriff out, if he lives within city limits, if the city had sent a police officer out, or even the chief of police had gone out and talked to him, or animal control had gone out and talked to him and said, hey, file the paperwork, that'd been one thing. That would have been one thing. But when you sent 5 different agencies and you treat them like criminals, like they were drug dealers, over a squirrel and a raccoon, that's a government that's too damn powerful. Because think about it, if they're going to do that over a squirrel and a raccoon, what excuse do they need to come after you? Now, Willie, you said you lived there in New York. Okay, I did not know that. Think of what that means for you. What do you do? What do you have in your possession that the right person found out about it and raised enough hell about it that the state would send out 5 different agencies to do this to you. Not your local police, not your local sheriff, not even your county commissioners, but state appointed members of the government. People who had the power of the state behind them. Now, this got big. This really did get big. It got so big that there was a statement. Trump's statement on Peanut the Squirrel confirmed as faked as squirrels online. Former President Donald Trump's campaign officials confirmed he has not commented on Peanut the Squirrel despite a fake statement gaining popularity. A picture of the false Trump fans letter had circulated online following the news that Peanut was euthanized by officials of the New York Department of Environmental Conservation Wednesday. A raccoon named Fred was also euthanized during the department's raid on Mark Longo's home. The photo was falsely written to display Trump's support for animals. This is the statement. There have been horrible reports. I can't do a Trump voice. Let's see here. There have been horrible reports out of New York, my former home state, where the state environmental agents raided the home of Mark Longo and his wife. Mark was taken in custody for hours while officials searched his home and eventually took 2 of their pets, Fred the raccoon and Peanut the squirrel. These animals were later executed by the state of New York. So far, there's not been, even though this is a fake statement, every statement there is true. New York authorities under the terrible governor put more effort into finding and eliminating a squirrel who was innocent by all accounts than they do to control unchecked illegal immigrants who have flooded into their state. If Peanut could have told them he was from Mexico, they would have sent him on his way, given him a hotel room and a $500 gift card to Buddy Squirrel. Instead, it was taken from his family. Very sad and complete waste of resources. When we win, we get our priorities in order and MAGA. Now, this is a statement I could honestly believe come from Trump and his campaign. Unfortunately, it's fake. But let's see here. Anti-Trump website falls for fake statement about Peanut the squirrel. An anti-Donald Trump website fell for a statement from the former president that appeared to decry the death of internet famous Peanut the squirrel. Only for those close to the Republican nominee confirmed that the fiery post was fake. The liberal news site Mediaite published a since-deleted article on Saturday based upon a bizarre, bogus press release that appeared to be from Trump's campaign. That was first posted on X by Gentry Genvers. It's a fake statement, Carolyn Levitt from Trump's team told the Post Saturday afternoon. He actually didn't say that Levitt clarified his said statement, which described Peanut, who was euthanized after being seized from his upstate New York owners this week, as innocent on all accounts compared to the creature to a migrant. Mediaite is fake news. Mediaite subsequently issued a correction saying erroneously reported on a fake statement. Look at this guy and his squirrel. I mean, come on. What happiness. Just pure happiness there. So, but J.D. Vance did have to eventually answer it. J.D. Vance was asked about it on campaign. And here we go.
Don's fired up about Peanut the Squirrel. We were on the way down here from Cincinnati. He was like, is it really the case that the Democrats murdered the Elon Musk of squirrels? And I said, yeah, it sounds like, have you seen the videos of this squirrel? Yeah. He's a genius, or he was, unfortunately. But the same government that doesn't care about hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrant criminals coming into our country doesn't want us to have pets. It's the craziest thing. Look, let me leave you with a couple thoughts here, because I know we're going to get on to the next spot, and I want to make it clear that if you are undecided in this election, I think it's important to consider what's at stake. And I know all of you are not undecided, but there are a lot of people who are going to watch at home. We're going to see the clips from this, and I think it's so simple. The media is trying to distract us. They're trying to talk about everything other than which candidate in this race is going to make your life better. Which candidate in this race is going to take this money out of your pocket, and which candidate is going to put it back in? The answer is we already know. We don't have to guess. Kamala Harris, over the last 4 years, has been taking money out of your pocket with inflation. Donald Trump already put a lot of money back in your pocket when he was president, and that's exactly what he's going to do.
JD did a good, I think he could have turned that a little bit better. Any government that doesn't care about the illegals living in their state, but cares whether or not you have an illegal squirrel living in your home. Do you really want that on a national level? That's just representative of what happens at a national level. But yeah. This is, okay, fortunately, I don't live within city limits. So, in the city I used to live in, I never even thought to look about it. I don't think that I need to have dog tags or have my dogs, my pets registered with the city, with the county, or the state. I have a hard time with that, having to register your animals. Because, Because along comes registration, along comes that $5, $10, $15 fee to register them. And I've always considered that, being forced to register your pets when they start charging you for it as just another money grab situation. Another way that they try to, they want to take your money. And we all know cities, counties, and states are infamous for trying to find a way to get more money out of your pocket into their coffers. That's just the way they are. We're here in Florida. Many cities vote on a half-cent sales tax that is used for building schools and helping to maintain the roads within the city or the county. That way, in Florida being a tourist town tourist state like it is, that helps keep the pressure off of the locals from having to pay everything, and everybody, all the tourists that come traveling through. That half-cent sales tax, that adds up to a lot of money from people from Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi, the states where we get most of our tourism from. So, and that means the local homeowners like myself, we don't have to, our property taxes don't go up as much. Which, tourists use the roads as much as anybody else does in this state. So why shouldn't they help pay for them? But no, I mean, this whole thing, those two poor animals, and what the state did to that. Hey, Teddy Ripskin, good morning. Did she actually say that, Teddy? Oh, you're another New Yorker? Can you send me a link on that? But that would be something I'd love to actually see, hear from her own lips. Because she has said some other things here recently. I posted one of them. Let's see here. Where's that video? I'm scrolling through my because I could have swore I posted it to my yeah, here we go. I did actually. I posted it to my X account. Okay. Well, here's this. Oh, there's.
The Republicans running these seats, the incumbents, closer to Donald Trump and remind everybody, if you're voting for these Republicans in New York, you are voting for someone who supports Donald Trump, and you're anti-woman, you're anti-abortion, and basically you're anti-American because you have just trashed American values and what our country is all about.
Yep, she actually said that. That if you vote for a
Gave me a chance to
Republican,
tie the Republicans running in these seats, the incumbents, close.
she actually said that if you vote for a Republican, you're anti-American. I was really and truly shocked at that statement. Hey, good morning, Ramen. It was on CBS, but they took the video down after millions of people were. Well, I imagine millions of people were upset about that. Okay, pets should die if not registered. Let me do a just quick. Pet should die if not registered. Okay, let's put in Governor Hochul. Houcho, I think. Let's see here. Let me try this. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is the last thing I'm going, last chance I got to find this. Okay, no. I don't see anything there on her on a quick search. But you know, yeah, you're right about that. So let me close that tab. I don't need that anymore. Don't need that one anymore. So what we got over here? Okay, and I've already showed that one. Close a few of these tabs out. All right. Now, this is something I think and every state should be required to do. And it's a shame that it took a judge to make this order. The court orders Arizona to release list of voters whose citizenships have not been verified. Now remember, just last week, a judge ordered, I think this was in Georgia, a judge ordered non-citizens who had been removed from the voting rolls to be put back on. People that it was 100% known and provable they were not citizens of the United States. And this judge ordered that their names be put back on the rolls to be allowed to vote. That just absolutely flabbergasted me. I'm still stunned. The judge who has sworn, taken an oath to uphold the Constitution would place such a ruling. An Arizona judge has ordered the Secretary of State's office to release a list of tens of thousands of voters mistakenly classified as eligible for a full ballot. Tens of thousands who were mistakenly classified as having access to a full ballot because of a coding glitch. Secretary of State Adrian Fontes' office initially denied a public records request for the list as filed by America First Legal, group run by Stephen Miller. Fontes' office cited concerns over accuracy of the list and the safety of the voters included. Judge Scott Blaney said the court received no credible information or evidence showing the information would be misused or encourage violence or harassment against voters whose citizenship had not been verified. Their citizenship has not been verified. What the hell are they doing on the voting rolls? Blaney set a deadline noon Monday for Fontes' office to release the list of 98,000 voters. And the information Fontes relied on when announcing in early October that even more voters had been impacted for a total of 218,000. 218,000 people who should not be allowed to be anywhere near a polling place. Are mistakenly coded as being allowed to vote, have a full ballot. To vote for not only the president and vice president, but for the senator, for the House member. This is all according to plan by the Democrats. This is the plan the Democrats have. Because they know a Republican president, Donald Trump, especially Donald Trump, and Vice President J.D. Vance, would start pushing for the deportation, either by force or by self-deportation of every illegal in the country, including DACA. Trump knows how to go about getting DACA overturned and getting all them kids deported. Young adults now. But getting every one of their asses deported back to Mexico, Guatemala, Nigeria, Nicaragua, Venezuela, Argentina, wherever, Guam, wherever they came from, get them deported back. Either through self-deportation or being physically escorted by government officials. Arizona is among the most closely watched states given its presidential battleground status, and both campaigns have ramped up their presence in recent weeks. The coding glitch doesn't impact federal races, but it led to a decision by the state Supreme Court in September that misclassified voters still could vote the full ballot, even though officials hadn't confirmed whether or not they are U.S. citizens. Again, they should not be anywhere. If you are not a U.S. citizen, if you can't confirm you're a U.S. citizen, you shouldn't be within 1,000 yards of a polling place, let alone inside of one. The number of voters could tip the scales in the tight local and state races, as well as fiercely competitive ballot measures on abortion and immigration. The voters are nearly evenly registered as Democrats or Republicans, or with neither of the parties. Fontes said he has a list of 98,000 voters, but not a more expansive one, despite declaring many more are affected. His office said Thursday it's reviewing Blaney's decision and weighing its options. Blaine restricted Strong Communities Foundation and its legal counsel, America First Legal, from distributing the information they receive ahead of Election Day on Tuesday to anybody but county recorders. The Arizona State President and the Speaker of the Arizona House and members of the Elections Committee. Why don't these people already have that list? Why? Why don't they already have that list so they can be looking at their voters at the rolls, especially the county recorders? They should already have those lists and be purging their rolls. America's First Legal Counsel James Rogers said in a statement Thursday that the group is hopeful the records could be used to verify the citizenship of voters on the list. It's unfortunate that Secretary Fontes has so aggressively opposed our common sense efforts to help restore trust in our state's election system. The ruling also requires Fontes' office to release communications and data transmissions with a number of government agencies, including the Arizona Department of Transportation and Governor Katie Hobbs' office. Yeah, Katie Hobbs is a real piece of work. She's nearly as bad as Hochul. Remember, Hobbs is the one that ordered an executive order banning the Second Amendment within parts of Arizona. And she had to be taken to court over that. So yeah, Hobbs is a real piece of work. I wouldn't trust her any further than I could throw Freddie the raccoon. But once again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Why in the hell, if there is a question about whether or not somebody is a citizen of the United States and eligible to vote, why are they on the voting rolls? That question should have been completely resolved when they asked, when they came and registered. That question should have been 100% already resolved. If there's a question about their citizenship, they shouldn't have been registered. Plain and simple, 100%. But we've got people, again, though, when we've got people who are being paid from out-of-state companies that have got a clear political bias going out and registering people and turning in these registration forms. Once again, motor voter needs to go. You should be required to go to City Hall or the supervisor of elections office to vote, to register to vote. And if you're infirmed, and you can't leave your house, you are under, for whatever reason, you are too infirmed where you require an ambulance to get around. Then you call your mayor's office, you call your city government, you make arrangements. For them to come out to your home to do the paperwork. Or you call the elections office. And they come out and get you registered. If you're in a nursing home, like my father-in-law, he's in a nursing home. Assisted care facility. Let me get it right now. It's no longer called nursing homes. Assisted care facility. The people who are mobile, they load up in their own buses and vans and such, and they take them out to different places. Take them out to the mall, take them out to restaurants, take them out to different areas. Why shouldn't they take these people to the city hall or to the election supervisor of elections building to allow them to get registered if they need to be registered? Now, granted, the government could go out and set up a day, hey, this week we're going to be out there every day this week with 2 or 3 people to get people registered to vote. They could be doing that. That, I think, would be a decent expenditure of taxpayer dollars. But we don't need Jane and Joe from out of state come walking in and walking down through the streets and just setting up a stand at Walmart, chasing people down in the parking lots to register them to vote. People in the United States, we've got freedoms. One of our best freedoms, one of our most important freedoms is the freedom to vote. But along comes with that freedom to vote is the freedom not to vote. If you don't want to vote, you don't have to. You don't need to have some jerk running you down in the parking lot of your grocery store. Walmart, Albertsons, Aldi's, wherever, trying to force you to register to vote. If you wanted to register to vote, you would take your happy young ass down to your local government office and register to vote. If you don't have an interest in registering to vote, then you don't register to vote. I know people who they honestly believe, they think I'm a complete and total idiot for being concerned about elections. They say elections, what the people want don't matter. The government's so big, the government decides itself who's going to win and lose long before the first ballot's ever cast. They honestly believe that. It's like one of them was telling me the other day, he goes, while we've got a figurehead president, we got somebody who goes by the job title, wears the little necklace with the title president on it. He goes, do you honestly believe Joe Biden is making a single damn decision in this government for the past year? Any decisions that made by our government is made by either Jill, Kamala, or any one of the faceless bureaucrats who's already been in office for half their lives. They're the ones actually running the government, not Joe Biden. And it's kind of hard to argue against him. Do any of us actually believe Joe Biden's had a cognitive thought over the past year? You think Jill is the one sitting in running cabinet meetings? Anyway, the misclassification of voters from a federal only to full ballot voters was blamed on a glitch in the state database involving driver's licenses and the Arizona Motor Vehicle Division. Motor voter. Arizona is unique among the states that requires voters to prove their citizenship to participate in local and state races. Those who haven't but are sworn to it under a penalty of law are allowed to participate in only federal elections. They're more concerned. Arizona's more concerned that it's only U.S. citizens that vote in their local offices than they are about who runs the federal government. Any illegal can vote for president, according to in Arizona. You got to prove you're a U.S. citizen to get a ballot for your governor or your mayor. Isn't that ass backwards? The state considers driver's licenses issued after October 1996 to be valid proof of citizenship. However, the system coded error marked 218,000 voters who obtained licenses before 96 mistakenly as full ballot voters. In Arizona, you have to prove citizenship to vote for the governor or mayor or dog catcher. But anybody can vote for the president, senator, House member. Most of these states and cities that allow non-citizens to vote, it's just the opposite. They allow them to vote in local elections, school board and such, but not for state representation, not for the president. Once again, why are people who are not citizens even allowed to get within 1,000 yards of a polling place on election day? There's over 20 million illegals in this country right now. Of those 20 million, how many do you think have already voted or going to vote tomorrow? Because they got registered to vote by some dumbass that's being paid 50 cents a registration. Every person he gets registered, he gets 50 cents. Or $1. Or even $2. Our election system's broken as hell. And thanks to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Obama, it's gotten even worse. We can thank them for the stage that it's in today. Trump actually tried to do something about it. Trump actually tried to do something about it. And that's why he is so hated by the Democrats and called a racist and a xenophobe. And those of us who agree with him, we're called racists and xenophobes. Now, I can almost agree with xenophobe because I don't want foreigners in our country voting. I really don't. I don't want people who living in our country who don't want to become U.S. citizens. You move here from Mexico and you get a permanent green card, and or Guatemala or Venezuela, Argentina, Cuba, whatever, and you're here more than 10 years and you've done nothing to become a citizen. That should be the end of your visa. Your visa. You've now overstayed your welcome. Excuse me. You've now overstayed your welcome. Okay, I'm going to check something here real quick. All right. Let's see here, just so that how long does it take to become a U.S. citizen? The processing time for naturalization averages 4.9 months. In some cases, it now takes more, 20 months. All right, 20 months. So that's 2 years, less than 2 years. All right. 10 steps. Step 1, are you already a citizen? No. Determine if you're eligible to become a citizen. Perform your fee. Perform your form N400. Submit your form 900 and pay your fees. Go to your biometrics appointment. You get your fingerprints, pictures, everything else. Complete the interview. Receive a decision from the USCIS on your Form 900. Granted, continued, or denied. Continued. U.S. may continue application if you need to provide additional evidence or documentation, fail to provide the USCIS the correct documents, or fail the English or civics test the first time. Receive notice to take the oath of allegiance. You'll be able to participate in naturalization ceremony on the same day as your interview. Okay. Take the oath of allegiance. Then understanding U.S. citizenship. You should understand it before you. They got that back asswards there. That should be way back here before completing the interview. You should understand what it means to be a U.S. citizen, what your rights and responsibilities are. Ten steps. There we go. Determine if you're already a citizen. Determine if you're eligible to be a citizen. Submit your Form N-400. Prepare it, submit it, and pay your fees. Go to your biometrics appointment. Complete the interview. Receive your decision. Receive a notice, take the oath of allegiance. Take the oath. This is what I'm saying here. Step 10, understanding. That should be up here around step 5. You should know, you should be up in this area here before step 6 into understanding what your understanding U.S. citizenship, what your rights and responsibilities are. Hey, Digi, morning. Well, lurking is lurking, man. I'll tell you what, I'll take you lurking. I'm on a little bit of a hot button streak here today. That deal with Peanut the Squirrel, that really pissed me off all weekend long. I got fired up Friday when I heard about that. But, I tried to explain it to the wife and why it bothered me, and she goes, that's only a squirrel. I tried to equate it to coming in here and taking our dog or our cat, and she's like, but it's a squirrel, it's not a dog or a cat. Yeah, she doesn't like squirrels. She doesn't like them at all because they get into her bird feed. She hates rats even more because they get into her bird feed. But anyway, I thought I closed all my tabs here dealing with that, with so anyway, since we're talking about the election, let's jump over to Pennsylvania. U.S. postal worker allegedly caught on camera dumping over 300 pieces of mail. These were mailers in support of Republicans. Postal investigators have opened a probe. The mail-in support of Republican Representative Thomas Keene Jr., Republican of Westfield, into a dumpster at a Pennsylvania supermarket. Now, there's opinion here. Take a wild guess what these workers would also be doing Donald Trump mail-in ballots. I think Pennsylvania, I know one of the states, I can't remember which one it was, identified your ballot through the envelope 4 years ago. And a lot of hell got raised about that because a lot of ballots did get found in the trash. And the vast majority of them were Republican. And I think that and I can't remember if it was Pennsylvania or not, but ballots should never be identifiable as to Republican ballot or Democrat ballot. And there should be, on the, and there should be no such thing on a general election. Because you're not voting by party there at the general election, not like you are during the primary. So, anyway. And on the community notes attached to this, somebody trying to reduce the importance of this, made comments about it being about the mail-in ballots. That's not the problem here. But the problem here, because they didn't find any mail-in ballots. What they found here were those pesky mailers that people see in their mailboxes. And all the mailers that were found belonged to one particular Republican. And it was a post office worker that was throwing them away. There is a case to be made. That's election interference by the U.S. Post Office, by an individual working at the U.S. Post Office. A case could be made for that. Particularly if the individual is not properly punished, or if it's found on a wide scale beyond this one individual. So, and again, 4 years ago, during the election cycle, one post office worker recorded the postmaster. Actually, had recordings of the postmaster. The stamp cancel thing. They had a special one set up to postmark ballots that came in. Let's say they had to be in on the 4th. If they came in on the 5th, he had a special one set aside that still said the 4th on it. So those ballots could be delivered and counted. I don't care if the ballots belong to Republican, Democrat, or Independent. I don't care. If they weren't mailed on time, then they shouldn't be counted. I did something for the first time in decades, literally decades. I had to go and vote Friday. So because I got looking at what I've got, real life is kicking me in the butt tomorrow during the day. And I was concerned I would not be able to go and vote because of other things going on. So I went and voted Friday, took advantage of the early voting. Then people scrutinized my driver's license and my signature, comparing my signature on my driver's license to my signature on the paperwork, to get my ballot. I mean, it was a good 30 seconds that they sat there and compared them. I mean, it was a really close. I give the woman credit. She was making certain my signature matched. So, more power to them. So not only did I have to present my driver's license just to prove who I am, but my signatures had to match. So not only my picture, but my signature. Amazing. And yes, I did vote for Trump. One thing I do like is being able to download my ballot early, which I do. I downloaded my ballot early. That way I could look over everything, particularly the judges. If you have not voted already, I recommend that you download your ballot. Now, here in Florida, there's two Amendment 3 and 4 getting all the news. The abortion and marijuana amendments. There's another amendment on basically telling the Florida state government that they can't mess with traditional forms of hunting and fishing. They can't go in and all of a sudden deem this, cane pole fishing illegal because it's a traditional form of fishing. Or net fishing, cast net fishing, because cast net fishing is a traditional form of fishing. Now, I think it's stupid that people have to be concerned about making that into part of the Florida Constitution. That you have to be worried about the state legislature or the state, the agriculture department or fish and game department stepping in and saying, well, you can't do this anymore because we've determined you shouldn't, even though you've done it for 200 years, you can't do it anymore. But with what we have seen these departments do, and as much as I love the state of Florida, there are idiots in the state government, power-hungry little tyrants who run their fiefdoms. And that's going to happen regardless of who sits at the top of the food chain. You're going to get these little petty tyrants. You could have the best governor in the world. You could have the best house and your best legislature that you could possibly have. And you're still going to have some petty little tyrant working in the fish and game department who's going to come up with a new rule and screw everything up. So that's why some of these constitutional amendments like this one here are necessary. Because you're all, you have to protect. It's to the point now you have to protect yourself from the government workers. That's a problem too. You get these government employees, and while 50% of them could be absolutely hardworking, honest employees working for the government, doing the best job they possibly can in serving the people. They feel it's their job, their position in life to serve the people of their state or of their country. And they do it by being a government worker. And God bless those people, more power to them. And then you get the people who go into these positions because they know that they can get power. They can get authority. It's like I hope we've all watched some of these First Amendment auditors go into the post office. You can't be here. This is a federal building. Poster 7 says I can be here. This is a federal building. Or you get, you're across the street from the county jail, staying on public property, recording them. The next thing you know, you can't be here recording this jail. Why not? Well, you may be trying to break someone out. I'm standing on public property. Anything I can see, I can record. So you see what I'm saying? You get the petty tyrants who get into some of these positions because they want the power. Sometimes they become police officers. I'm not dinging all police, but the police is where you find, that's the quickest step into doing police and corrections officers. You spend a few months in, there are different academies or whatever, and then boom, you're given a badge, a gun, a shield, whatever the accoutrements of your office are. And now suddenly you have authority over other people. Sort of like the Green Mile. Remember, you had that one guy, Tom Hanks' character was the really good CEO, tried to make everybody's life sitting there on death row as easy and as possible. Then you had the little petty tyrant that nobody liked. The guy that wanted to see what it was like for somebody to be executed with a dry sponge instead of a wet sponge. Yeah, the guy that was the actor was a real piece of dog dirt from what I saw, what he did later on. But anywho, my train tracks are all over the place today, aren't they? What's this? NBC Saturday night live. Saturday night. Now, Lorne Michaels, the man would be in charge of Saturday night, had sworn months ago that none of the candidates would be on Saturday Night Live. And then all of a sudden, the Saturday night before Election Day, Kamala Harris is on it. Whoops, I don't want that. I want to present and share screen. The problem is, FCC commissioner claims Kamala Harris' Saturday Night Live appearance violates the equal time rule. The FCC equal time rule requires American radio and television stations to offer equal time to rival political candidates when asked. A Federal Communications Commission claimed that, and now they got here incorrectly on Saturday, that Kamala Harris's appearance on Saturday Night Live violated the equal time rule. This is a clear and blatant effort to evade the FCC's equal time rule, Commissioner Brendan Carr wrote on X in response to news of Harris's planned appearance. The FCC's equal time rule requires American radio and television stations to offer equal time to rival political candidates. However, the burden falls on the candidates to request those opportunities, and the agency's policy on the rule states equal opportunities generally means providing comparable time and placement to opposing candidates. It does not require the station to provide opposing candidates with programs identical to the initiating candidate. In his statement on social media, which an FCC representative noted did not represent the agency's official views, Carr wrote, "The purpose of the rule is to avoid this exact type of bias and partisan conduct. A licensed broadcaster using the airwaves to exert influence for one candidate on the eve of election." All right, away from the article here. The equal time, think about it. ABC or whatever network has The View on it. Could you imagine The View being required to say as many nice things about Donald Trump as they've said mean things about him? The equal time rule has never really effectively worked. The problem here, though, is Lorne Michaels had sworn months ago that neither candidate would appear. Now, supposedly, Donald Trump was offered airtime on Saturday Night Live and he turned it down. I haven't seen anything official on that. I'm just saying, that is something that is a claim that was popped up since Saturday. Is Trump turned down a slot? Well, Raman, I agree with you. But The View's got its place. I mean, it's entertaining to some people. It's not your form of entertainment. It's definitely not my form of entertainment. But some people find it entertaining. It's like Rush Limbaugh when he had his show when he was alive. The left hated Rush. Now, I didn't listen to him every day. All right. Like I didn't listen to Mike Savage every day. Like I didn't, when Hugh Hewitt was on the radio every day, I didn't listen to his program all the time. I don't listen to Dennis Prager all the time. I do listen to those who still have shows on occasion. But I don't listen to them all the time. NBC officially informed the FCC that Harris appeared on Saturday Night Live without charge. And here is the official notification. NBC local notice required by section 73.1943 of the Rules of Federal Communications Commission. Tim Kaine, the Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate in the 2024 election in the state of Virginia, appeared without charge on NBC Saturday Night Live for a total period of 1 minute and 55 seconds on November 2nd. Station WRC TV, Washington, D.C. is affiliated with the NBC network, and it broadcast this episode of Saturday Night Live, including the portion of Mr. Kaine appeared. Okay. Then there was this one here. Notice required by section 73.1943 of the rules that Kamala Harris, the Democratic candidate for president in the 2024 national election, appeared without charge on NBC Saturday Night Live, SNL, for a period of 1 minute and 30 seconds on November 2nd, 2024. Station WNBC New York, New York is affiliated with the NBC television network and broadcast this episode of Saturday Night Live, including the portion in which Ms. Harris appeared. So there is their official notifications. All right, this here's from the FCC.gov website. Let's see. So anyway, nope. That's not what I wanted. There we go. Oh. Man, I accidentally closed that tab and Control H. All right. I've accidentally closed the tab and Control H is not bringing it back up. Ratterfrack. But anyway. So was it dirty pool for Saturday Night Live for Lorne Michaels to go back on his word? Yeah, it could well be. It could well be that, Michaels, in allowing them on, shouldn't have. Okay? Because he promised that it wouldn't. But we're talking Saturday Night Live. And the skit she performed was identical to a skit, where she's talking to herself. Was identical to a skit that Trump and whoever was impersonating him did years ago. So once again, she copied something that Trump did. That is what it is. So yeah, here's the headline itself. Saturday Night Live head insists there'll be no Trump or Harris cameos this season, cites equal time provisions. Former President Trump hosted an episode in 2015 after launching his first presidential campaign. Anyway, this was a month ago that Lorne Michaels swore this off. And less than a month later, there they are, sitting there with Kamala on it. It is what it is, folks. Anyway, now going to jump over to Great Britain here for a moment. If you live in the UK, the November is Islamophobia Awareness Month, which is all about making the people of the UK aware of discrimination against Muslim people and to the Islamic faith. The aim is to challenge some of the stereotypes that people might have of Islam and Muslims, and to highlight the positive contribution that the British Muslims make to their society. So just ignore everything that the Muslims do on a day-to-day basis, the taking over the streets, they close down streets 5 times a day to pray, or that they've got their Muslim police force out every evening, to chase away anybody that they don't deem to be worthy of being in their part of the city. Just ignore the fact that even if you're walking your dog, they consider that offensive because dogs are an offensive animal in Islam. Just ignore everything the Muslims do every day and pretend they're good, contributing members to society. Ignore the fact that the Muslims in the mosque there in the UK are preaching how they are going to take over the world and that everybody will bow or die under Sharia law. So just ignore all of that if you live in the UK. Because none of that matters in the month of November. Once again, like Christians, not all Christians are bad, but there are some bad Christians. The problem is the Quran teaches so many violent things. If death to the unbeliever. And if you believe in, if you're a Muslim and you live by Islamic faith, death to the unbeliever. But anyway, folks, my day is done. I've got things I've got to do. I need to change out the syringes here. And it's coming up close on 2 hours anyway. So everybody, y'all try to have a good day. Enjoy yourselves. Stay out of trouble. If you haven't voted yet, please go vote tomorrow. I don't care who you vote for. Well, vote for the person that you honestly believe is best for the country. Okay? That's what I'm going to say. Vote for the person that you honestly believe has the best views, the best ideas for the country. Not for you as an individual. Okay? Not for the person that's going to help you out as an individual, but for the person that's going to help out everybody in the country. One of the biggest problems, in my opinion, with the way American politics has devolved, all right, is when we start going into, pitting groups against each other when it comes to politics. Who's going to help the black man? Who's going to help the American Indian? Who's going to help the Dot Indian? Who's going to help this minority group? Who, men against women, rich against poor. To me, that's been one of the worst things that's happened to American politics. Start pitting the American people against each other rather than uniting people to work together. That's something that Reagan preached. Reagan, who, in my opinion, is one of the best presidents of the 20th century. And one of the things that he constantly harped on was, we are Americans first. And Trump, to some degree, in my opinion, does the same thing. What's, bringing jobs back to America, that employs everybody. Making us independent of foreign national fuel, that helps everybody. Bringing manufacturing back to the United States, that helps everybody. I'm sorry, I don't hear that from Kamala. I hear it, though, from Trump. And yes, it is sarcastic. It's not sarcastic, but, make America great again. All right. It's not saying make whites great again, not saying make blacks great again, not saying make Hispanics great again. Make America great again. Make Americans great again. We can't do that if we're opening our borders to every person in the world that wants to come here and let them just walk across the border, and then we're going to find a place for them to live and give them free food. And meanwhile, our own citizens are sitting there crapping in the streets because they've got no place to live, and the local communities are tearing down their tents and tiny homes, or refusing to allow tiny homes to be built because they're being placed too close together. But it's getting the people off the streets. And every person that gets off the street is one less person living on the streets. One less person that, crapping in the streets. Giving them a helping hand up. But we never put our American citizens who are homeless into hotels and gave them free food. There's a story here recently out in LA. One of the organizations being given food, taxpayer funded food, was got thrown it all in the dumpsters because they were supposed to be out passing it out among the homeless living under the bypasses and such. And the food was being, by the case, being thrown in the trash. When we are spending more money helping people who cross our borders illegally than we are in helping our own citizens, something is wrong. Something is really and truly wrong there. You watch these man on the street interviews. Should people who've entered the country be allowed to vote? And there are college students out there saying yes, they should because they live here. Well, it doesn't matter if they cross the borders illegally. They're living here now. So, yeah, they should be able to vote. These are college students that are being taught that in colleges. These are the future adults. People that are going to become judges, lawyers, and teachers. And this is what they're being taught in our colleges. We need to turn this ship around. It needs to do a 180. We need, again, my personal opinion here, take it for what it's worth. The first thing we need to do is close our borders. Next thing we need to do is close down the apartments. Sorry, we're not paying your rent for you. We're not going to give you free food. You found your way across the border once, you can find your way across it again. E-verify all new employees. Require jobs to match your name and social security number to make certain that it's not being used by somebody else in another state. So, yeah, we've got a lot of things we need to do. We really do. But anyway, everyone, try to have a good day. Enjoy yourselves. Be with the ones you love. Love the ones that you're with. And go vote tomorrow. Bye.